My grandson Jordan sent a letter to his grandma yesterday, and inside the letter was Flat Stanley, who wanted us to take him on a motorcycle adventure. You may know this character, created by Jeff Brown. Flat Stanley's a boy who was flattened by a bulletin board, and although he was okay, he now found that he could fit inside an envelope. So Flat Stanley has now been traversing the world, being sent through the mail in envelopes. Well, Stanley is now at our house. He came in this envelope. It's a funny envelope. It's called a flat rate envelope, appropriate for Flat Stanley. Here's the invitation from our grandson for an adventure with Flat Stanley. And here is Flat Stanley. If you haven't seen him before, you'll probably see him again. Here he is. He wanted to take a ride on our motorcycle. Unfortunately, we just got rid of our last two-wheel motorcycle, and all we got left are two Trikes. Now, Trikes are three-wheel motorcycles. Well, he still wanted to take a ride on our Trikes. My wife, Jane, decided that he needed to have the appropriate apparel on to be able to go for a ride on our Trike. So she created a little jacket and a helmet. And here it is. He's got his own motorcycle jacket and his helmet, little visor on the top. So he's all ready to go for a ride. Now, I've been the motorcycle guide for nearly 6 years now. I've always had at least one motorcycle. Like I say, now we've got Trikes. So we're a triking family, riding on three wheels instead of two wheels. When we told Flat Stanley this, I think Flat Stanley was a little relieved when he found out that the Trikes don't fall over. After all, he was already about as flat as he ever wanted to get. At any rate, we decided to show Stanley the Trikes and take him for a little ride over to the beach at Spring Lake, New Jersey. Okay, it's time to take the bike out for a ride. So we're going to take the Trike out for a little ride and show you some of the differences between bikes and Trikes, and hopefully help you to answer some of these questions that I keep getting asked all the time when I'm on the road. Flat Stanley, like many other people that I have encountered on the road, just don't know about Trikes. They've never seen them before. It's a very strange vehicle to them. So Stanley had a lot of questions, and they're the same kind of questions that everybody else has. Namely, what is that thing? Well, it's a Trike. It's a three-wheel motorcycle. Where do you get them? You can't buy them from Honda or Yamaha or Harley Davidson. You have to have the rear end custom built by a number of manufacturers. This was done by Trike. It has rear wheels and a differential that's more like a car than it is a motorcycle, and it's mated together with the front part of the motorcycle. Of course, people are interested in how much they cost. Well, they cost as much as the bike costs, plus about $9,000 to install the Trike part. How does it ride? It rides extremely well. It jostles a little bit, but it rides extremely well. And it does well on the turns. Some people say, well, a Trike could never keep up with a two-wheel motorcycle, but that's not been my experience. Once you get on to how the motorcycle steers, and you learn a few techniques, you'll have no trouble with it at all. Trike is a little different. It's got a trunk in the back here, specially made trunk that kind of substitutes for the saddlebags that used to be on the side of the motorcycle. One thing they tell you is don't put your foot down, because if you do, the rear wheel will run over it. Now I'll show you a little bit in a demonstration here. I'm going to take the trike out, run it up and down the road here, turn it, and then bring it up to the curb. When you bring it up to the curb, it's the same kind of a problem you have when you come up to a gas station and you come up to the gas island. You have to be careful because the trike is wide and it's not like a bike at all. Flat Stanley out on the curb, checking to see how close the trike wheel is to the curb. He's got his motorcycle jacket on and his helmet, and he's ready for a ride. Okay, we're just going to take a little ride into a playground area here, a little parking lot. We'll demonstrate a little bit about steering a trike. I'm going to first take you out for your first trike ride. They have an exercise called put your right hand in your back pocket and just let the bike go at its own pace with the idle throttle. And so you just kind of steer the thing with your left hand. That's what I'm doing here now. I'm doing a little steering around, getting used to little figure eights. And you come back around the other way. Normally with a bike, if you're going down the road, you counter steer. If you push the handlebar to the left, you go to the left. But look what happens when we did that. We went to the right. So a bike is doing just the opposite of a trike. The trike does not counter steer. The trike steers just like a car, and that's the thing you have to get used to. And the best way to learn to steer is to do the steering and to pull it. If you want to go to the left, you pull left like this. I pull this grip to the left and I go left. That's the easiest way. When you get out onto a mountain road somewhere, you'll find out that pulling the grips is much easier than trying to push the other opposite grip. So that's what I'm doing here. Once you get onto the steering of a motorcycle, you're in great shape and you can do almost anything. So here is my trike, a 2000 Goldwing motor trike. My wife's trike, the 1998 Honda Goldwing motor trike, and Flat Stanley is going to ride with my wife on the back of her motorcycle over to Spring Lake and have a little beach adventure. Jane shows Flat Stanley on the back seat of her trike. They're ready to ride. We're on the way to the shore with Jane in the lead and Flat Stanley aboard. Jane and Flat Stanley at Spring Lake, New Jersey. Well, we're back from our trip to the beach with Flat Stanley. He had a great trip. We're now waiting for Jordan, our grandson, to show up and take Flat Stanley back with him. I hope you learned a little bit about trikes in the process.